Thanks, Ron.
August 9, regular Board of Supervisors session.
Very good. Thanks, Jake. Let's call this regular meeting of the Marion County Board of Supervisors to order. Roll call.
Keisha Johnner. Here. Mark Ramey.
Here.
Steve McCombs.
Here. Would entertain a motion on this morning's agenda.
Make motion to approve today's agenda.
Second.
McCombs.
Aye.
Ramey.
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
Any communications, Jake?
Well, I will just share, I've been communicating the last couple days with Drew. He represents, or he's with the Iowa Auditor State's office, and Auditor Sand wants to do a little hour town hall thing on the gazebo this Friday, and they have gone ahead and completed the application just like last year. It just wasn't in time to get it on this agenda. They are not asking for any electricity. They're not asking for anything. He just wants to have a little session there on the gazebo this Friday, so just like they did last year, except
Okay.
it poured down rain then. So they've done everything they have. I just wanted to make you aware that the application is here. It's just
Not an agenda.
not an agenda item. So
Counselor, can we approve the process without? I didn't think so.
But
So
again, they didn't ask for anything. They didn't ask for electricity. They didn't ask for anything. I don't. It's on file. If something would happen, we can officially approve it post meeting post event if you want to. We have, I think, maybe done something like that before. But
So Jake, when we get things like this, we normally make the public go through this process. When they're going to have
if we know about it. And
a formal event though.
Mhm.
Particularly from a liability standpoint, one of the major issues is always insurance, right?
Yep. And they have signed off on the indemnity, they have signed off on the form, on the application, the indemnity form, I guess it's called.
Okay. All right. Well, this is the communications portion. I appreciate that.
Yep.
But we won't have any official board approval of this application.
Not officially through this board meeting, no.
No.
And the other piece is the one that you had approved for today for, there was gonna be a band, I think, on the gazebo today.
Correct.
And they're moving that to the movie theater, so the other group, I can't remember who it is, I think Glen Lyons, does not need the gazebo today. So they're
Okay.
moving that to the
Okay.
movie theater.
Very good. All right. We will, we'll talk after the meeting. All right. And we'll get Ed looped in. All right. Any other communications?
No.
All right, and none for me. Thank you. Public comments. It's the portion of the agenda the public can speak on items not listed on this morning's agenda. Board cannot act on those items. They could be topics for future board meetings. Are there any public comments on items not listed on this morning's agenda? Lisa, anything online?
No.
Okay, anything in the room? Nothing in the room. We'll move on. Entertain a motion on this morning's consent agenda.
I move to approve today's consent agenda.
I'll second.
Ramey,
Aye?
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs.
Aye.
Okay, very good. We have a discussion action item for our number one agenda item, special event application for Freedom of Youth Ministries. Is there anybody here to speak on that? Not seeing anybody online for that,
No.
Lisa? Okay.
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. It looks like, if you look at the application, they filled the special event application out. Board, you have this in your packets. It's for 9/1/22.
I believe they did this last year as well.
I was gonna say it's the same event they had last year.
Same
They've
group,
completed it.
Same event.
They've got their insurance certificate attached, so that is complete as well. So again,
They're just looking to use the
Yeah.
courthouse, a lawn, looks
the
like.
lawn,
Yep, and are they?
Yep.
Yeah.
no need for restrooms. It's during open hours, the courthouse, isn't it?
No, it's
Sure.
from 5 to 7
I
p.m.
think it's after we close, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. So it says
Provided, okay.
It says we're
Facility.
providing restrooms.
It says within our facility, so I
Yeah.
don't know, I'm assuming their facility, they're gonna provide restrooms,
I don't think they're looking for anything from the courthouse.
just the,
Okay. Yeah, this needs to be a little clearer here.
yeah.
So, okay. Very good. So it looks like everything is as was last year, right? Board,
it
do you have any
looks like-
questions or concerns?
Looks like the businesses signed off, Chris signed off on it.
Yep.
I don't have any further questions.
Steve?
Nope, I have no issues.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the special event app?
Make motion to approve Freedom of Youth Ministries special application.
Second.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey,
Aye. Very good, thank you. And now we have another special event application, which is from Knoxville Raceway, and that is for worker parking in the VA area. I think it's by the laundry.
Yes, sir.
Randy, you thinking by that? This is your application. If you want to speak on that, feel free. Yeah, please, up here.
Yeah, and I'm a member of the Fair Board, and several years in the past, we parked our workers' cars at the VA, and that was when there was more blacktop. But there is a lot of concrete yet, and the weather's supposed to be good and dry and hot. So we're hoping we'll come in off of West Pleasant, and there is still a concrete roadway, busted up in some places due to heavy truck traffic, but you can drive clear back to the laundry, and lots of room to park on the concrete. There is a gate that goes across, that the walkway goes across the railroad track, and there is a padlock and chain on that, and the entry from West Pleasant is also closed, chained and locked. So if this is approved, I would need a key or permission to go get a key from whoever would have that.
Right. And this is just for the workers,
Yes.
so this is not general public
right.
parking.
Double the size of workers, excuse me, that we have because of the large crowd. We also probably triple the number of groups that are selling 50-50 tickets, t-shirt vendors, people that there's no place to park on the grounds.
Okay.
And street parking is obviously an option, but
Sure.
come Saturday, well, come tomorrow, that will be very limited, or you park a long ways away.
Right. So you've got the indemnity agreement signed, Randy, and you're requesting a waiver on the insurance deposit. No insurance certificate attached. I don't think we've done one in the past. But you'll have workers able to provide security?
Yes, I've talked to the head of that. She said they can send somebody over there on kind of a rotating basis.
Okay.
And we've also put a call in, and we're still looking, but Gary Schumacher feels very confident, a couple of portable lights. So after the races, you know how dark it's going to be. And
Right.
we've had that in the past also. One for actually when they cross the railroad tracks, and one out toward the parking lot area.
Right, okay.
Have you been in there lately, Randy? Is that lot cleared off? Because I think the last time I was in there was a lot of
Yes,
debris laid on.
I went in maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago, just on a whim. The gate was unlocked, so I took it upon myself just to go look, so there weren't any surprises, like you said. But
Is it clear then?
yeah, it's
Okay.
clear.
Because I think the last time I was in there was quite a bit of debris laying on that parking lot.
No,
All right.
I mean, I think our major concern, Randy, as we, truly have this piece of property on our insurance now, is just, it's really liability. It's being able to provide security for the folks. It's extremely dark, you know this, you folks know this.
Yep.
We don't have any people that we're going to staff to
And we don't
monitor
expect
that. Yeah. We've got the building there, that laundry facility. We're trying to get that building up to speed. We're always concerned about vandalism.
And if you need me to, I can take some photos today. There is a broken window.
Yeah, we know about that.
And you guys know about that.
Yep,
right? I don't want, well, this happened during nationals. Okay, so,
No, we do know, I know about that.
Okay.
And have got that, I actually have a picture of that myself, so. So,
The only question I would have, Randy, is how are you gonna control that gate off of Pleasant Street with so people see
Yeah.
other people?
I know in the past, and again, we've not had a lot of discussion about it because we didn't know if we would be able to use this. But we've hired someone to watch the gate. And in the past, again, they've given the workers a pass that they put on their
Right.
front of their car
Yeah.
or inside, so they know, hey, they're supposed to be there.
So there will be somebody at that gate, so, because so people won't be driving in there. That's my, you see what I'm getting
because you're
at?
Oh,
gonna,
I know exactly.
you're gonna
where
leave
you're
that
at.
gate open, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, you'd have to leave it open or have a man it, one or
Right.
the other.
I'm not the guy that can answer that at this moment.
Okay, well,
If
that'd be my only concern,
Yep.
because people see people driving in there,
Oh,
they're
absolutely.
gonna take advantage of it,
Yep.
trust
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, with such short time window, being able to get these workers their passes, you know, I don't know if legal counsel, Ed, do you have any thoughts on this?
I do.
But
And I spoke with Chris about this, so this is, let me get up to my computer, sorry. So this is a little different proposal than when I spoke with Chris. Chris wanted to make abundantly clear that that laundry building, at this moment in time, as indicated with broken window and the like, is not secured.
Right.
And it's not able to be secured without spending a significant amount of money. And so it does classify, in my opinion, as an attractive nuisance. We know that we've had people in and out of that building since this project started many moons ago, just based on the nature of the amount of vandalism and the like. Chris was of the belief that, and I wish he was here today, I don't want to speak for him, but that it would require security provided by the track, not on a rotating basis, but on a consistent, making sure no one's going into that laundry facility. I'm also just want to be clear, I'm not certain what our joint partnership with the city of Knoxville, based on this property, whether or not there's any requirement for indemnity to them. I'm also always concerned, just being completely candid, that when we have an indemnification agreement, but without an insurance contract backing that up, we're talking about potential for substantial liability here. So it would have to be a situation, at least from my perspective, that we would minimize our liability as much as we possibly can. We can't always make it zero, but whether or not that means someone is at that, where you're letting people in off the road. Also have to be mindful of folks have to be able to walk in a convenient way from that parking lot area over to the most logical spot to get onto the property for the racetrack. They're not going to walk back out the roads. They're going to cut across. How are we preventing other people from walking back through there at the end of the evening when folks may have had a few to drink, and we're talking about needing that to be locked up pretty secure. So I just want to make sure you folks, however you vote, that's fine. Just we need to make sure that we understand from how we are most minimizing our risk, meaning that I think Chris was under the understanding that meant that there would be, I think he called them red jackets. I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
But that there would be people who would be around the laundry building 24/7 during this process, and that the gate would be manned with a person letting people in and letting people out, and security not letting people walk through there on the other side. So
Ed, I thank you for that analysis. I think, Randy, for me, and I'm glad you brought the application, and I think throughout this entire process, we've been wanting to work and partner with the city and the racetrack and do those things. There's almost too many variables for me that, based on Ed's analysis, we're not really set up yet to have it be some type of site where we can provide that type of parking where we would cover our liability as a county. I think that's my biggest concern.
That would be my concern.
Where not to say anybody would do anything untoward or anything like that, but you always have the attractive nuisance issue, and if we don't have full-time staff there providing full-time security, I see that being a problem for us.
I would feel a lot more comfortable if we could provide full-time security. I'm not opposed to the idea of parking there if we can control the security on a around-the-clock basis.
Am I allowed to make a phone call? Because I don't have an answer to
okay.
that, but I can call the president of our fair board. And he said he would be available at this time to find out, hey, can we get somebody over there full-time?
Yeah, because, I mean, if you provide the security at the site, not necessarily at the gate, I mean, that would require two people, but at least if you had security there at the site and somebody drove in and didn't have that pass, they could make them or ask them to leave. Obviously, they're gonna probably, I've worked out a long time, so you're probably gonna get some law enforcement involved at one point or another.
So Steve, Keisha, is full-time security our only issue?
Well,
Well, it wouldn't be our only issue because, obviously even at full-time security, if something could happen. But
Well, that's always a
Right, yeah.
but
possibility.
it's always
and they don't have
could.
the,
What gets it to
Insurance.
the place where you're comfortable?
To me, full-time security I would be comfortable.
Yeah, Keisha?
well, I think bigger issue for me is, I mean, obviously the liability, but also how are they gonna man? I mean, how are you gonna man people coming back from the track? I mean, it's a mass exodus. Everybody wants to leave. Everybody, and if they can cut across and that would be my bigger issue. Is I don't know how they're gonna stop that.
Well, it's really not a good place to cut back across if you're not parked there, but I don't know. I mean, like I said, I've worked here many years and it is mass confusion at a point in time, and the gentleman sitting in the audience will attest to that.
Do you have a comment, Lisa?
Can I speak as a public? Can I speak as a KRCO volunteer?
Sure, sure, you're stepping behind the outside, you're not my technician now.
No, you're fine. No, I am very torn today because I see the county's position with the building. However, I also feel torn as a KRCO volunteer. We have a hard time finding volunteers, and our nonprofit, our goal is to raise money for safety for the race car drivers, okay? We are having to pay our volunteers to park because there is no parking and people will not volunteer if they have to pay to park. I know that was the VA when we used to use it. The volunteers are used to walking across the railroad. We're used to going to the laundry facility. Taking the other road is a little bit different, but we are used to being able to use that, and it has really put a strain on not only, I'm sure, the workers for the racetrack, but also the volunteers that are out there. It's less of a walk for us if we have to go across the railroad tracks. Right now, our volunteers are parking in the city grass, and we're carpooling and dropping people off. So I just wanted to make those comments. As a volunteer myself, like I said, I'm torn because I understand the city or the county's position with the laundry facility, but yet being someone that's been out there for years, it is very convenient when we are allowed to park there and walk across the tracks.
No, I
Those are my
appreciate
2
that.
cents worth, sorry.
I appreciate that.
And you guys have gained some extra parking, right? By the ready mix, that's right there was that parking. I know
Yes.
that's a new additional. Now, where are you at on what we would call, the old Goodwill, Pomida parking lot? You guys own that building.
The
Where you?
fairgrounds owns that.
Yeah, yeah.
And there is some parking which has been used in the past, also through the Lions Club. But there's also 20 to 30 sprint car teams that park their rigs there, which takes up nearly 3/4, if not more, of that facility.
So they park there during the day, and then there's no parking
And they don't take their rigs in during this show
Mhm.
because they're not, well, they all have kind of portable, they might have a pickup and a trailer to take everything, all their equipment in, but the rigs stay there.
I mean, so, board, it's really a question of, I mean, there are several issues here, but a lot of it comes down to security and liability. That seems to be our consistent
Yeah. I mean,
concern.
I mean,
If,
I understand the parking problem, but and I'm okay. I mean, if we could secure the area in some fashion.
So-
Jason, and I apologize, texted while she was talking, but I got a response back from Jason Reed, the Fair Board president. If we need full-time security, we will get it. And that's what
Ed, does that take care of some of your concern?
Right, I mean, at the end of the day, we have liability in everything that we do. The question is, can we minimize our liability?
Correct.
And if if there's a lawsuit that's involved, if we get sued, somebody gets hurt, I'm not concerned, I wanna be clear, about the workers who are working. They understand, I think Lisa's exactly right, this isn't anything necessarily new. The question is other people getting back into that area.
Right.
But if we're going to have someone patrolling, for lack of a better term, around that laundry building, so as to the point that they're there from when those areas are unlocked. Looks like we have 2 areas that are gonna be unlocked. That so long as there's someone there patrolling, when the gates are unlocked, that's as good as we're going to do to minimize that liability. And then ultimately it comes down to what your risk tolerance is.
Correct.
If you feel that that's sufficient, then absolutely.
Yeah.
Randy, I think I've got I mean, it's not a solution, but it would be a help. If you can get that gentleman right there a parking pass to park there, he's an ex-deputy that used to work the races with me. He could be parked back there. So when he leaves, the race is over, he can go out to the parking lot, you know, besides the security you're going to provide. I'd feel a little more comfortable.
who are you talking about?
That gentleman right there.
How are we on the insurance portion of that, since they waived that, the request and waiver?
Well, so, I mean, it didn't make the, but your package should have, they went and got a certificate of coverages from ICAP.
That was my next.
Marion County is a certificate.
So they
of
did,
coverage
okay,
should
cause
be
I
in
wasn't
your
for sure when
package,
they
and then-
checked that, and then I was like, I saw this, but I was,
So a certificate of coverage with additional party liability coverage,
Okay.
and then a certificate of liability insurance naming both the city of Knoxville and Marion County.
Okay, good,
So they did go get that, and,
Okay.
they
good, very
pushed
good.
through, they pushed through that report, so they did provide that.
Okay, very good.
And one of them is 6 million coverage and the other is 10.
No, it's good.
So,
and Randy, I would like to say, you know, depending upon how we vote, but either way, you know, in the future, hopefully this will be sold at some point, and this will be a business, or, you know, and so, the future could be, the parking may not be available. I don't know what that future is.
Well, and I would
So-
say, I'd even add to that, Keisha, maybe next year, let's start this process about a month earlier.
I'm going to keep all my paperwork.
So, depending on whatever the disposition of the property is. Steve?
I'm all for trying to help.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we've got, full-time security, and you're telling us we're good, we've got somebody at the gate monitoring people coming in and staying at that gate, and we're watching the gates to the track, I think we've done everything we need to do at that point, at least from my perspective. So is there a motion on this application, given everything that we talked about, in addition to Randy's text from the president of the Fair Board? That would be in addition to this.
I
Just
would,
a quick question, Mr. Chair.
Sheriff?
Sheriff here. Would it make you guys feel any comfortable if our reserve deputies park there for afterwards? Right now, they're parking up right north of Palmito, which is fine, but if it's something, if it makes you guys feel a little bit better for after the fact or not, or.
Absolutely,
I totally agree with that, Jason.
absolutely, Sheriff.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of
I can make an
room.
announcement or
Yeah.
something too, if that makes you guys feel better on it or something to, let them know that.
No, that would be great, Sheriff. I appreciate
That
it.
makes me feel better also,
Yeah.
honestly.
Very good.
Okay.
Well, with all of that added to our discussion, is there a motion on this application?
Jason, I need to get a parking pass for Tex and get him parked back there too.
Okay, yeah, no problem. We'll get it taken care of for you.
All right, thank you.
You've been drafted, Tex. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the application as discussed.
I will second that.
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
Very good. Randy, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Randy,
Yes,
are you gonna be around this afternoon and I'll hook up with you, this afternoon sometime and try to get those details worked out with you?
I sure can be. You just give me a call.
Hang on,
I think you still have my number.
Sheriff, do you have his phone number?
Yeah, I've got it, I believe. I'll find him. As long as he's gonna be there this afternoon, I'll find him somewhere.
Okay.
All right, appreciate it.
A key to unlock that gate.
We'll talk to Chris. I don't know, Tyler, do you still have one?
I think so.
Okay, we'll get you one, Randy.
I don't know about the key to the gate.
I do
that
have-
goes to the tracks. I
I
don't
do
know.
have
We-
my bolt
We've got,
cutters and
I believe we
rake.
have keys to the gate. We can help out with it.
All right,
So I brought my lawnmower and my rake, cause it's kinda weedy and there's
Okay.
vines climbing all over everywhere. So I'd like to make that as passable as I can.
sure.
And I wanted to head out there this morning while it's a little cooler.
Sheriff, can you get some keys to Randy?
Yep, I'll help him out.
I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too, Randy. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Good discussion. Prairie Ridge. Keisha.
Been receiving monthly updates from ATI on Prairie Ridge. Received one on 7/29, so just wanting to make sure and pass that information on. I did drive through Prairie Ridge yesterday. The 4 Sage homes with the basements, 2 of the 4 they are currently building on. And so I think over time, and BJ with ATI said that the other 2 would be also follow suit, very shortly. Oakstone, we have talked about Oakstone before, and Marion County Bank is working to finish the Oakstone homes. They're working with the homeowners to get them finished as soon as they can. So I was happy to hear that the bank is working with them, and I appreciate them doing that. Continued process on trying to get other home builders in there. Obviously, with Oakstone no longer building, BJ is working to trying to recruit others, and so there is conversation there. The townhomes, we talked about the townhomes the last time. When I went through yesterday, the dirt work that would be where the townhomes are, that dirt is starting to be moved out. The approximate townhomes would be between 30 and 35. They're still working. They're hoping to get that agreement done here very shortly. And so I'm hoping by the end of this month, I'll have that update and who would be working on doing those homes. So overall, we're still looking at 68 lots available. So there's 24 homes finished or under construction, and then the 4 new Sage homes, so 26 total, but 68 lots available, and then there will be the townhomes. So that's all the update I have, unless you guys have questions.
Steve, any questions for Keisha?
Oh, that sounds pretty good. Thank you, Keisha, for keeping on top of that.
Yes, very much. Thank you for the update. Is there a motion to close discussion on this item?
I make motion to close discussion.
Second?
Ramey,
Aye?
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs.
Aye.
Very good, thank you. Next, opioid litigation update. Mr. Bull.
Good morning. Just to bring you guys up to speed, if you recall, in early 2019, we decided to take part in a class action lawsuit concerning the opioid epidemic. Our legal team, same attorneys representing most counties in the state of Iowa, have been able to reach a settlement with the distributors. We have received our first of, I believe it's 19 payments for over the next 19 years of $31,500 and some cents. We have already received that check. We are receiving a second payment this year. So sometime in October or November, we'll get another check for $31,000 and some change. And then it'll proceed over, I think, the next 16 or 17 years. I don't have that number in front of me. It's important to keep in mind this is the first of potentially multiple settlements that will be reached. If you recall, if you paid attention, we were optimistic at one point that we would also have a settlement with Purdue Pharma, which was the major manufacturer of Oxy back in the day. The settlement was rejected by Purdue Pharma's bankruptcy referee, and so we are back to the drawing board as it deals with Purdue. Johnson & Johnson is also one of the litigants, is my belief, and so this is the first settlement. I can't guarantee you that we'll get additional settlements, but I think everyone is optimistic that we will be. When we entered into this agreement and as part of the settlement, there is specific usage that the settlement dollars are able to be used for. It is part of what we call, I think it's attachment E of the original agreement that we signed. It is, I'm not gonna say restrictive, because there's a lot of different things that you can use that money for, but it is clear you have to use it for opioid fixes, for lack of a better term, whether or not that's increasing treatment, whether or not that's increasing Narcan education, additional pharmaceutical boxes that you can drop off pills for. That's probably 4,000 of 3,000 different things. Kim's here. I know she spent a lot of time looking at those usages. So we met about 3 weeks ago, both Chairman Ramey, Kim, myself, the sheriff, Jake, and Michaela, to try to talk about some of our options, because one of the options that's available to us at some point in the near future, not today, is the potential to take a lump sum settlement. There are a lot of counties that are looking at it and saying, not a whole lot we can do with $30,000 a year to develop a comprehensive solution to this epidemic. But I might be able to do something with $450,000 today. And so in the state of Wisconsin, which is about 90 days ahead of us in this settlement process, they have seen a bunch of financial institutions come forward to purchase lump sum settlements in exchange for taking over the monthly payments or yearly payments. That hasn't happened in Iowa yet. I know that ISAC is looking into who might be a local provider to do that type of servicing of that settlement.
Would they do that for the whole lump sum, or there's going to be a diminished dollar amount?
Yeah.
They're gonna make their share.
Right.
So yes, you're gonna pay a little bit for the right to get all your money up front, just like you do on other personal injury settlements as well.
And is that those 19 payments? Is that the same amount every year, or does that?
It's gonna be very, very close. The answer is, I can say yes. The answer is no. I mean, there is some type of clawback. So there's some money that's being held back because in the event that a county doesn't use the money in the way in which it is intended pursuant to our agreement, there's a clawback. And so so the way it's been explained to us is the number is going to be pretty darn close, but not exact. So one of the other options, just to make you aware of, that we discussed is we have the right to say no to the money. It's simply either directed to go back to the state of Iowa, or in the alternative, we are able to, in essence, enter into a 2080 with another county to pool our resources. Marion County was very fortunate when you look at the dollar amounts that we received. Based on the work that we all did back in 2020, specifically public health, that established our needs and our dollar amount. The other reality, which has nothing to do with what any of us did, a lot of how they determined how much money the county got was directly related for the number of pills prescribed and distributed in an individual county. Marion County is unique for a county our size that we have 2 hospitals in it. And so as a result of having 2 hospitals, we had more prescription. I mean, you look at the numbers, what stands out to you is we got virtually the same amount of money as Dallas County did over the next 19 years. So, or 17 years, excuse me. So we are going to be working, moving forward, a kind of subgroup that's been put together. We have already started to see that some of the service providers, recognizing that there may be money to be had,
I figured that was gonna, yeah.
is starting to put together some potential programming. We know, I think our best literature and the best practice talks about medicated assisted treatment, or MAT, as being the solution as best we know it at this moment in time. And so is there the possibility of expanding MAT treatment in our community? We already have a provider here who's providing it, but it is not as large a program as we probably need. Is there the potential to develop some treatment options out at our jail to deal with our one of our most vulnerable populations? We know that when folks get out of jail, the stress of that, this sounds odd coming from a prosecutor, don't get me wrong, but if we can stop the revolving door at the Marion County Jail and help people live sober and healthy lifestyles and be productive members of the community, that's really being smart on crime, in my opinion. So if there's a relationship that can be created between our jail population and decreasing their addictions, I think all should be supportive of that. So I know the sheriff is looking into some options. We're not the first community. We're going to look to Wisconsin, which is a few months ahead of us, and then there's some states that are 6 months ahead of us. See what some of the pitfalls are. But just to give you an update, 2 years ago, 3 years ago was, hey, there may be money. Now the answer is there is money. We think there's more money coming, but we have gotten our first check. We should get our next check. They're not exactly certain. They're advertising maybe October, November. The settlement was almost that everyone wanted to get a bigger lump sum up front to get started because they thought there could be some administrative costs associated with running whatever program that there is. So that's why we got 2 payments in the first year.
And Ed, so you, Sheriff, Kim, who else?
Michaela, Jake, all the people who are associated with, I know Jake has been working with the state to just even try to get the kind of the internal codes we have to use to deposit this money. And so has the state come through yet?
On the expense side, we have a chart of account numbers assigned, but they have not assigned the revenue side yet. So Michaela's holding the funds until we can deposit it into the appropriate internal fund.
And then recommendations for the board to decide on lump sum, not lump sum, or usage. You guys will work on that and come up with
Correct.
some ideas.
We're waiting until after nationals is over, just because it's hard to get the sheriff
Sure.
to be able to take the meetings that he wants to take, to be able to put together a proposal. I know Kim had the opportunity to listen to UCS this past week, present a proposal. What we want to do is combine, have everyone come to the table with their ideas in that group, and certainly we're open to suggestions. Hopefully the public is listening to this meeting now if they have ideas that they think are productive ones. We're all ears at this point. We're then going to bring to this board some suggestions, and then ultimately it's up to you folks to decide how to spend that money. We'll bring you our best, what we think makes the most sense, put it together and present those proposals. I think at this point, our original meeting, we did not want to give the money back to the state of Iowa. We thought we were better pass through than the state would be to helping the people of Marion County. And at this point, depending on what our proposals are, we're not in a position yet to make a recommendation of whether or not a lump sum or a 2080 with an adjoining county might make some sense, because we don't know what our proposal is. We can't tell you yet what our costs are going to be. So that's where we're at. I think right now our legal team, Kruger out of Wisconsin, is working on this settlement. There are a whole lot of moving pieces to get that amount of money distributed when you're talking about billions of dollars with a B. That they've done a great job. They've kept us in the loop, and that was a great decision this board made going with them. So, and they have delivered on their promises. That to the extent you can make promises in litigation, they were optimistic and they were right. So, any other questions?
Yeah, this may be a redundant question, Ed, but these yearly payments, does that money have to be spent, this $31,000, does it have to be spent down within that year, or can it be banked?
It can be banked by everything that I've read and heard. There is certainly going to be accounting of how we spend the money, but I don't believe that we are in any obligation to spend $31,563
Okay.
this year.
That was my question, because if we take the lump sum, it's a moot point, but I was just curious about that yearly payment.
And I'm assuming if you took the lump sum, there would be some sort of time frame that you would have to spend those money.
There has been, but I'll tell you that from the best of all of the documents that I've read, the settlement with the distributors did not anticipate us then selling our monthly payments for a lump sum. So I'm not certain how they don't really have a whole lot to say. Our agreement about how we spend the money also has substantially to do with our agreement with the state of Iowa, because we negotiated with the state of Iowa as well. When this first started, our Attorney General's office thought that they should be the people who got the majority of the money, that they could best spend the money for our individual counties. And that was a big sticking point between the counties and the county's negotiating team and the Attorney General's office. And we got to a point where it was an even split between the two, so that they can do kind of like what they've done with tobacco, their advertising and messaging and that kind of thing. But we were very strong, even directly taking our arguments to Attorney General Miller, with the fact that there's no one who understands the county's needs better than the county people who are on the ground. And it was an absolute, quite frankly, for most of the county attorneys, a ludicrous argument to think that the Attorney General's office would be able to administer and make decisions about best how to use our money.
Right.
So that's the position that we're at. So
Very good.
I'll keep you in the loop. We're hopeful to have a meeting early September. Hopefully folks will have had their proposals, and then hopefully right about the time that we are getting our second payment, we'll be in a position to make recommendations on how to spend the first payment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Ed, thank you for the
Thank you,
update.
Ed.
Yep,
Appreciate
thanks,
it
Ed.
very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Is there a motion to close discussion on this item?
Yeah, I make motion to close discussion.
Second?
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey.
Aye. Updates, Mr. McCombs,
I have none.
Mr. Johnner.
Iowa workforce development this week. Other than that, nothing, no other meetings this week.
Okay. Yeah, nothing for me. I think at some point, I'm gonna put Kim on the spot. Maybe in our next board meeting, Kim, we can do a public health update on, we'll know more on the child portion on the 18th or 17th? 17th, okay. So I think we need to do a wrap up of that and where we stand. So next meeting, Jake will have that as an agenda item.
As an actual agenda.
Yeah, that'll be an actual agenda item, yes. Very good. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, I make motion we adjourn.
Second?
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey,
Aye,
Johnner.
Aye.
very good, we are adjourned, thank you.
If you could sign the sign-in sheet there.